I think it's a film that's going to, it's got a lot we can unpick. So maybe to start with, you read a book and had an idea to make a film. It's such a complicated
movie. Yes, I read the short story. The short story, by the way, has only 2 characters. It's only about Daniel and Maria. It's about. It's also a kind of, let's say, autobiographical story, because the real Maria exists in Romania, and she also wrote a short story, How I Became a Whore, that contains the moment when she plays the part of prostitute. So, in fact, both short stories were published in Romania. One of them became internationally known, as it is also in Penguin, published by Penguin worldwide. The other one stays Romanian. How I Became a Whore is only Romanian. And so this was, let's say, the seed of the movie. Then I started to chase the writer to write the long screenplay. The writer is someone who wants his freedom, stay in his apartment, not enter the cinema world where everyone is changing what you write. So it was a kind of process to.
And you co-wrote the screenplay together.
In the beginning, we co-wrote. At some point, he left me. He was bored. He said, "Why should we do the second draft after the first draft?" And then when we discussed about going to the second draft, he sent me back the second draft with the number 33. It's the 33 draft. This is the last one. It's not anymore. I'm not going to work. I mean, and he's not doing any script anymore. So I also understand his need of freedom, of not getting involved in cinema. What I really enjoy in cinema is that more people come together, and the creativity of different people come to bring the thing in some unexpected way and make it grow. Or what I enjoy, for him it was a nightmare. So it was the moment when I started to work on my own, and also to, let's say, start the adventure of making the production, which is for Romania, who is, let's say, it's very difficult to get a budget more than 600,000 euro. Half of it in Romania, so a budget of 900,000 euro and an international cast, it's a kind of issue that was took a lot of energy.
So in a way, the film is a sort of symbol of, for me, it felt like the process of writing a screenplay in a film and the book, but also this sort of European jigsaw puzzle that you've created with the characters being from all these different places, but somehow creating a new European space with a new form also of cinema, with this mixture of animation.
In a way, this is how we live now. I mean, I'm traveling half of the time. In my youth, I was saying I'm staying in Romania because I like these subjects, these topics. I want to do a Romanian movie because these are mine. Now I really feel that I mean, my life is at the most half of it in Romania, and I have much more stories that I hear and met. Now I'm doing, my project is about a Polish who moved to France and then went to Afghanistan. It has, besides the team, it has nothing Romanian, this project. Then I will do another Romanian movie. I'm not saying that but the stories are not anymore, this is how we live now. It's not we are not living in a small space. Yeah.
And so for you, Anna, to act in a film, but almost entirely in English, for you is also this postmodern place of being a world actor?
I like being a world actor. As I was telling Suzy earlier, I've not done anything in Romanian for about 2 years, so there's a running joke with me and my friends that say she can also act in Romanian. She's got the special talent of acting in her own language. I wasn't supposed to play this role at first. It was not meant for me.
But you took it.
But I took it. No, actually, fate gave it to me or something. Everything panned out in such a way that I got to play and, you know, to create this character.
Ana came for the casting for the part of Irina, and she
And that was brilliant.
She was much better. She was much better than Diana at the casting. And I really loved her. And when we spoke after the casting, I said, "Yes, but you are a Maria. You are not an Irina." So it was like.
Is that a compliment or an insult?
I'm not sure.
Do we have questions, please? Okay. Good.
Good question.
It's quite a lot to take in. I think I saw it a couple of days ago, so I've had time to kind of have it in my head, and I think this Pirandello, this idea of 4-6 actors looking for a script is something that in theatre is an accepted form, but somehow in film it's a new form. It's something that it takes you in and takes you out, and it's something quite interesting. What happens to you when you're watching it?
You mentioned working with the writer of the short story, and it feels, obviously it feels multi-layered, but it feels like it's had a long gestation. How long did the actual writing process take for you?
No, it didn't take quite long. I mean, when we decided, it's much better to write from a short story a long movie, I say, because the short story has, from a novel, you need to cut. And so if you grow, you can make much more the movie look like as a new script, because when we introduced the 2 other characters. In fact, Irina is maybe the next Maria. In the beginning, I also wanted to cast, I had the idea to cast the same actress to do both parts. But then I said, maybe it's too much for the audience. They will. There is a Danish movie that resembles with my movie. Christopher Bow, Reconstruction. And that movie has to the same actress, which I read about that it is the same actress. And when I saw the movie, on the credit I say it's a mistake. I really, she was brilliant. She was doing both parts in a brilliant way. And then I introduced this character, the writer. I mean, the writer Alex, maybe an older version of Daniel. I mean, Daniel may become like him after some years, and in a way, all this Alex was in love, or is still in love with Maria. Writing is a kind of
outlet.
Yeah. So all this, Irina is the only isolated character from this, the other three, and Irina is the only one who is living in reality. So it was constructing, it was after these elements were in page, everything was rather easy, but it was more like for the writer, when we discussed how to write the script, for him it was more like dialogue, not about sequences. So the construction was also to be filmed and made. So it was not long, the writing. The longest part was the financing.
Jigsaw puzzle.
For me, it's very long because I'm used to, if the movie is not done in 2 or 3 years, I don't have the energy of doing it. I'm in another project. I lose the real interest of doing it. So it was I had a hard time to keep myself warm, and also keep the others that were already involved in the project,
because you're also producing the film, so you're not
Yeah,
only directing.
this is a kind of, let's say, Romanian habit. All the directors are also producers. This is a national sport, producing your movies. But in the same time, all the other directors have a kind of family business, wife, brother, someone who is helping them. So perhaps my issue is that my family is not involved in this production, and I should do.
So the actual physical moment when you're on set and you're there, what's the relationship that you have? What are you actually saying to Anna to get her to do the, for example,
The what?
well, no, I won't say that. It's quite hard, those scenes, those very intimate scenes that you're...
Yes.
Yes, the issue was also that it is, and I'm saying it's the last movie that it was shot on 35 millimeters. It was a choice that we took in the beginning, thinking that we will shoot 60 millimeters and 35 and make, and that idea didn't work.
To add to complex form.
To divide the forms, and that didn't work, and it was a costly stuff, and also an issue when you shoot with the film camera. And I started doing only shooting on film, and now I'm saying no, I'm not going to do it anymore, because it's changed the approach of the actor. So it's a kind of, you make
the pressure then.
The pressure of doing it is too hard, and also a set. I mean, even if you say it's a private moment, guys, leave us alone, it's not a place for privacy. But Jamie was really great with both.
Jamie was brilliant. Yeah, Jamie, what helped us both a lot, and especially me, I'm speaking about myself now, is that we're really good friends. So there was that kind of, let's just get it over with. The story is not about this. It is a story about erotic obsession and whatever derives from it, but the main focus is not the sexuality and stuff. But it's really annoying to do. I don't want to do it anymore. It's so annoying, and I'm not prudish per se, but I'm so far from being an exhibitionist, and that sort of thing is just against my religion.
But it was kind of necessary for the film.
It was necessary.
At some point, it would be weird not to elude the moments. Yeah.
Was there any point where the screenplay changed because of the actors, where there was some involved into something?
Not really.
Yes, there was.
Sorry. She's fighting. Sorry.
Yes, there was.
Which one?
A lot, like all the stuff with the moving light. All the stuff with the moving light.
Yes,
didn't have that.
yes. But I mean, when the stuff with the moving light was something that when it developed through, but not due to the improvisation of the actors.
Yes, it was.
No, because you fight with me. They didn't want to improvise, and also the British school of acting is like we stick to the script. We stick to the script, but in the same time, I made the set. The idea of to shoot in a set, it was to have 3 apartments that have a labyrinth idea. I mean, for me, the visual construction was to have this a kind of, we see the city by the windows. The only window is the Eden apartments that see outside of the city. The other see only in the city. And all the apartments make a labyrinth, and there were hidden doors that you could go from Maria to Alex and apartment, and also to Daniel. It was you could walk through the apartments. And the idea of constructing them was also to go at some point from one to another. And this was also an issue when we say, okay, this is the script, but let's do the dream moments, put the stars in the apartment. And that was
Jamie stuff, I have no idea.
Yeah, and that was a kind of, okay, but this is not in the script. I will do it, but why do I do it? But in the end, I mean, it was a kind of, let's make the subconscious layer, which I don't know if it makes the audience understand more or lose. I really believe that this layer is quite important. We think that reality is what we see, but in fact there is a layer that we are not aware, which is our subconscious, which is much more stronger, and in the dream it becomes real and powerful. So this was, but I'm usually doing a movie, I'm saying a movie is a work in progress till I can't change anymore. So when it is in a DCP, then I stop. But till the DCP is done, I changed in the editing. I moved some sequences in the editing. So it's not a kind of because also places, people, and the team brings ideas to the project.
Yeah, all along I didn't know what the end was going to be, and I just now we were outside and we said maybe we need to come in and see if the end has changed.
It's a bit of a vague question, but if I watch the film, I get the feeling it's a lot about actually about power and about who is defining what is happening, like also through storytelling, like having the characters wanting to be authors, having an author who is also a character, and then how does it feel to direct that? Also maybe as a woman, with a male author and a female character, like it's a bit, I feel like it's a bit about gender as well, the whole movie, and about gender power dynamics. So it's very interesting, I think, I don't know, it's not really sure what I want to ask.
It is about power. And if you think, I mean, there is a kind of, I'm not saying, perhaps there is the woman audience gets something and the male audience get a different thing. I mean, I think that every woman wanted to have a revenge at some point, and they can feel satisfaction that male would not feel satisfaction at this stage, but there are different, obviously different points of view. I enjoyed, I mean, if to be in a male skin and think, but of course I'm doing just mentally, so it is quite, you pointed quite well.
How difficult was it for you as an actress to make the difference between the real Maria and the character? And which Marias did you enjoy playing more? The hurt woman, the woman in control, the character, the author?
Thank you for that question. It was really interesting because at some point I realized that there were about three characters. There's the real Maria, who's more or less defined as a woman who suffered a lot. And then there's Maria in her own story, in her own vision, that kind of idealizes herself as one would. And then there's Maria in Alex's story, who's in love with her, and in Daniel's story, who's moved on, but not really. And, you know, it was having to go back all the time and try and retrace his steps and try and think, whose story am I in now? And we used to ask Anca that, whose story are we in now? And she said, I'm not telling you. Which was really, it was interesting because we tend to be cerebral about these things and overthink and what have you, and, you know, try and solve a role as a math problem. And at some point it's about a bit more than that. It's about, you know, letting just the atmosphere of the film, the mood of the film, as David Lynch said, wash over you. And we were in that studio with our fake apartments with no ceilings but that looked completely realistic, making a story with no ceiling but that was completely realistic. So I think it helped a lot to be in that space and have that thing about fiction and reality at all points. It was a very, very interesting role to play, especially because when I first read the script, I wanted to make it about something else. I wanted to not just make it about revenge and Maria being this vixen femme fatale that just does these things and overpowers men. This is a woman that loved somebody and that was completely disappointed by this person. So what love turns into when it stops being love, what it morphs into, was what was interesting for me with this role. That kind of the root that it takes in your heart and the fact that you feel this constant reproach towards the person while at the same time loving them. Weird. Human stuff. Human characters are so interesting.
Seems to me to be a sense through the film in which Daniel may not really have responsibility for his own actions. Is that what do you think that gives to the film? Is that something that's in the source material, or is that something that you kind of added to it?
The responsibility
Yeah.
for his action. Well, in a way, they say we are playing. I'm one of my obsessions are points of view, and when you say his point of view in the story, it's just that he's taking, let's say, a game for a summer that may not disturb his life, but in fact you can't, any action or thought or word or something is changing. So he realized at some point that he might need to be in control to put his life all together, but it's also all this comes to be wrong because he's making the happy ending which is not going to survive. So it's also a thing about the difference of British thinking of responsibility and of a Latin country of responsibility, which
we're irresponsible.
No, I mean
completely.
If this movie was set in France, no one would even think what's the problem of having two women in the same time. This is something, or having the responsibility of deciding where are you going and which woman are you meeting, is much more, let's say, close to the British. In a
to
way,
more righteous people.
In a way, it's a way of, I mean, if I'm saying Daniel is killing himself, he's killing literally in his dream sequence, in his writings, but it's the death of the man in the woman, because I don't know if you remember Almodovar movie, which I love,
Todo sobre mi madre.
no.
Tacones lejanos.
No.
Hable con ella.
Hable con ella. In that silent movie when he's entering, I mean, it's a kind of also an image of losing inside of a woman, which is, but in fact, the women make them lose themselves in a way, aware. They are not anymore aware of themselves, and they extract from they falling in love is also kind of
Following first. We have to go.
yeah.
We were told.
Yes.
I was just curious because it sounds like you could have chosen from a male author and a female author, and the one that was Romanian, and how that might have changed the film in terms of having this kind of female author and just kind of also the statement of sacrifice for creating art and music.
I mean, it helped a lot to have the female author writings. But her point of view, I mean, in the same time, I think that if Maria would be the main character, there would be no writings. So, because she's
A woman of action.
she really wrote, there is the real Maria, wrote that novel and wrote some other novels in which Philip is like main character, and it's funny because they are at different stages of their relationship, and you could see how he sees him after a while.
But they've helped a lot, the books, actually.
Yeah.
Her stories helped a lot in developing the relationship that he had with Maria beforehand, and this frustration that she was never the one with whom he wants to buy an apartment with. She was never the one, you know, the settled down one. And so that's her
And
main
there was
frustration.
also a funny story. It was like he was just reading a book in an awkward place in Bucharest. And
The two real characters.
the real characters, and they just met. It was after they separated 3 or 4 times, and they met, and he was angry that she came to say hello, and said la revedere, which means in Romania see you again. And it was for him, it was a kind of adieu. But he said, how can you can't even be angry with someone who is doesn't know your language properly, doesn't use your language properly, and also is using an R, like la revedere. So you can't make a fight with him. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
not
sorry,
we
sorry.
personally.
Oh,
but the
sorry.
people.
Okay. Oh, we can continue the conversation downstairs. So it's freezing here as well. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Telling us.
Sorry.
I have to go. Yeah, I kept